So this is Darcy's Corner, and it's March 10th, 2022. We're still in Alberta. We're still going through a pandemic. Um, I was going through some of my old footage and seeing how I did things, and listening to my old voice. I am pleasantly surprised, actually, with the progress that I'm making in terms of becoming the new me. Um, but I kind of wanted to um, you know, should I keep posting these things? Maybe, maybe not. Um, but I think so. And I think I should go back to some of my old stuff that I was talking about before, just because it's relevant to now. In the US in particular, there's a whole bunch of states that are passing these anti trans laws. And then people just say, well, just move. This should apply universally throughout the world, forget just in the States. You should never have to move because of who you are. You should never have to leave your home because somebody come to you and said, you know what, you have the wrong X. You have the wrong religion, you have the wrong skin color, you have the wrong gender, you have the wrong colored eyes, the wrong kind of voice. Whatever the thing is, that should be superficial. You should not have to leave your home. Maybe you love your home. You grew up there. Your family's there. Your friends are there. Maybe you have a job there. Maybe you don't. we all have different. We all have different lives, and we build them where we build them, and we shouldn't be forced to leave them because someone else comes along and says, "I don't like you here." There's a whole bunch of really foolish people who are saying stupid things like "let kids be kids" and "don't tell children about trans people, don't tell them about gay people, don't tell them that these things exist because you're corrupting them." As people in the community will tell you, the vast majority of us knew as we were children. I know there's exceptions. There's people who didn't know till they were children. This didn't happen till their late teens or their early 20s or something. Okay, sure, those people exist. Um, that's great. But many of us, and I would suggest the vast majority of us, knew as children. But what we didn't know is what to call it. What we didn't know is what to do with it. We didn't have a safe place to take this for anybody to help us work through it. I remember being 10 years old, and we just moved, and we were at this new school, and they introduced family life curriculum to us at that time in BC where I was. And so that's where they teach you about the birds and the bees, kind of. There was a really rudimentary class. They gave us these books with stickman drawings that didn't really explain anything to you. They tried to explain what a wet dream was, and they kind of explained how the reproductive system worked, but very, very rudimentary. And that was it. And it was one class, one day. That was just, I don't know. It didn't educate me very much. I'll tell you that. But I was definitely entering puberty at age 10. I remember that. And this would have been good information to have from when I was little because I always knew I was two genders. And I always knew that boys could do certain things and girls could do certain things because that was what was taught in my home. And I was always wanting to do the things the girls were doing. Not all the things, but a lot of the things. And I just, I couldn't lots of the time. And the sad thing was all my friends at the time, or the vast majority of them, were girls. It's just because that was where I lived at the time. Every house that was close to mine that had a kid my age, it was a chick. uh, but I mean, I liked them. They liked me. I went to their birthday parties. They went to mine. We had cake. It was good. But we didn't have sleepovers because boys weren't allowed to have sleepovers with girls. And it was one of those rules that we had, and I didn't understand why, but I mean, later I guess I understand why, but not really, because it's just stupid to have those kinds of rules. Um, I understand with teenagers why you wouldn't want them doing that. But with children, like with people under 10, I don't think sexual encounters were ever going to be an issue. They weren't. Yeah, that didn't happen. Anyway, it's important to be able to say gay, to be able to say transgender, and it's important for little people to see themselves represented in media, to see themselves in storybooks, to see themselves on TV, and we have to speak about these things, and we have to speak about them to children. You don't have to explain hormones and reproductive organs to a 5-year-old, but it's perfectly okay to say you can be a girl or you can be a boy no matter which genitalia you were born with. And you can be neither, and that's fine too. Those people also exist. They also need to be acknowledged. Anyway, we need to tell children what this is. We need to teach children how to manage their lives. We need to give them options. And the people who don't understand that do not understand. The trauma you are causing these people later in life, it's unnecessary and it's unjustified. And how dare you steal their lives from them? How dare you shun them or make them feel less than? And don't give me any religious justification whatsoever, because there isn't. Either you believe in God or you don't, and if you do, then we're all children of God. And if you don't, then what difference does it make? Anyway, it's important that we protect the rights of all of our citizens. And the attitude of just move, screw that. This is my home. I'm not moving from my home because you say so. That's not how that works. And if there are kids in my area who want to understand how this works, people like me are the best ones to talk to them. At a kid level, going, look, if you have these thoughts, this is what this might mean for you. At an adult level, sure, things are different. You may have different conversations then, but you can learn this as a child, and you should learn this as a child. This should be part of your basic education growing up. The heartache this will save later on. I mean, so yes, definitely educate children and respect people's choices. By choices, I mean the choice to transition or not, the choice to try out this pronoun or that pronoun. And sometimes you do have to try it out and go, oh, this doesn't work, or that worked kind of, but not all the way, and I don't understand. There are various shades of this condition. It's not the same for everybody. And that's where the compassion needs to be. That's where the trial and error needs to happen. But it's so much easier to do this as a child than it is as an adult. It's so hard to do this as an adult. It's ridiculously stupid, and you've got so much baggage. And to try and change careers, to try and change spouses, to try and explain this to your children who didn't understand in the first place. I'm lucky my child did understand, but not all children do. And, spouses obviously can feel betrayed or shortchanged, and for good reason. So hiding this from children is hurting so many people beyond just that child you're protecting. So share this with your friends, share this with your family. Trans rights are human rights, especially for children. It doesn't matter if you're in Texas or Alberta or the UK or Australia or, someplace like the Ukraine. The Ukrainian people right now, there are trans women being turned away at the border because their ID doesn't match their gender identity. But if the Russians catch them, it's not going to be a pretty end for them. It's disgusting. Anyway, we are everywhere. Oh, by the way, we're in Russia too. 2% of the world's population is trans, period. Everywhere, including in Russia, including in Afghanistan, and including in Pakistan, and wherever. 2% of the world's population is trans. We don't get a choice, we just are. And we're people, and we matter. Anyway, it's enough of a rant on that, but protect trans rights, protect your friends and neighbors, and show love to your friends and neighbors. Peace.